but by the internet, right? By the way, on that comment, why is the ocean the original peer-to-peer network? Well, Portugal, with access to the ocean, can send things to Brazil. It can send things to Macau, right?
Interesting.
It doesn't
Right.
need to go overland through Russia, right? And that's why access to the ocean was so important in the nation's era. You didn't want to be an enclave which was completely surrounded by another country, because overland rights would not necessarily be granted. They had a monopoly of force in their area, and one of the consequences was you couldn't just transit through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that only arose once states became conscious enough. I mean, if you go back further in time, before the origins of modern nation state, you see all these principalities in Europe. Like the map is fractured into thousands of little pointillistic dots. This barony and this duchy here and this and that. And people didn't have really the idea that, oh, you travel onto my land and I'll stab you. I mean, sometimes they did that, but it wasn't formalized like this is the border of the German nation or whatever.
Right.
It was much more informal. You didn't have these powerful centralized states in quite the same way.
This is fascinating, by the way.
Go ahead.
Just taking a pause to see if I'm recasting it properly to you. So you're basically saying that it is this idea that your neighbors having the same beliefs and having this similar fabric in which you want to build your life is. Maybe it was true in the past, even if it was true in the past, but it certainly isn't as true as the connection and connectivity we have and how we categorize ourselves in our online communities, which we feel much closer to, much more alignment with. And this would translate to a continuing of these communities being built in the cloud, but also translating to potential. The enclave didn't matter, or it was suboptimal before. You really wanted access to the ocean, physically speaking, 150 years ago. Today, you actually, with the digital ocean that we're all connected with, the enclave could be anywhere and could have, a tiny island off of Dominican Republic, an enclave in Siberia, an island off of Iceland, and all three are part of this cloud country if they go that route of owning the land.
And that's the topology of a network state, where it's a cul-de-sac here, an apartment there, a ranch here, maybe it's a small town or a small city, and they all consider themselves part of the same polity because they're networked together, they're present in VR, they're in the same social network, they have the same cryptocurrency, they have the same values. In the same way that somebody in Hawaii consider themselves to be part of somebody in the same country as someone in New York, it is a social construct that exists in their mind. And the key is that geographical proximity matters less as more forms of property and more forms of value and culture go online. So now you've got this network state where you've got all of these, points in 100 different countries or 100 different legacy countries. And they're networked together. And now what's cool about that network state is if it exists mainly online, if the capital is in VR, right? If everybody's got an app that is effectively cryptocurrency, they can't be invaded by a legacy country physically or digitally. Digitally, they're protected by encryption. Physically, you need to go and land in 50 different countries at the same time. You need to invade Spain and Brazil and Japan and India and this and that, everywhere the global internet is.
And what would this community do? Together digitally,
it might be, for example, it might be vegans, right? They might, every single one of those little, pointillistic clusters might be a full vegan community. So you don't have to ask, is this vegan or not? It's just everything is vegan, right? You get economies of scale. The entire town is vegan, right? It could be, speaking the Catalan language. You're trying to revive this ancient language like the Israelis revived Hebrew. It could be devoted to a science of some kind. It could be devoted to what I'm interested in, which is transhumanism and, essentially advancing, technology.